And dear colleagues, we continue work at Ukraine Crisis Media Center. The next briefing topic: political advertisement and coverage of presidential elections in the Ukrainian media. Conclusions of presidential campaign 2019. Taras Shevchenko, director of the Center for Democracy and Rule of Law, co-chairman of the Council of the Reanimation Package of Reform, and Ihor Rozkladay, senior expert on media law, Center for Democracy and Rule of Law. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Our organization made conclusion about the campaign concerning and elections, concerning the work of the media, and presidential elections went through the new stage, and it should cover not only presidential elections but also parliamentary elections and also local elections. And changes are needed in the election law, and it was adopted in the first reading. And we had the election campaign of the president, and it was carried out according to the old rules. And our results, they are based on the fact that Ukrainian legislation is obsolete, and some problems are old, some problems appeared, and due to the development of the media and social networks, we have new problems, and we considered the most important things that influenced the campaign. And when we are speaking about elections, we should say that during election campaign, the most important is the interest of voters. In order to provide information to voters, they should make informed decisions, and responsible journalists and the media, they should be responsible, and there should be even playing field for the candidates. What we had in the conclusion, we will tell you about this together with Ihor Rozkladay. Also, we've prepared some infographics, and here we have 9 key problematic elements. The first one is about debates, and during these elections, the issue of debates was bright before the first round and before the second round, and debates happened on the stadium, but the debates that were envisaged by law, they didn't happen, and we formulate this problem in the way that the media, due to their own initiative, cannot hold debates to inform the citizens. Ukrainian law provides that mass media, they cannot initiate debates like it is done in the most of European countries, because the law provides 2 forms. Debates before second round, and debates before first round. First round for the costs of the candidates, and second round at the expense of the state budget. So debates before the first round, this is invention of Ukraine, because we didn't see it in other elections in other countries. So candidates want to be liked by voters, to have their interest, and the campaign that organized the debates, they should not promote some candidate. They should provide opportunity for the voters to make decisions, and all debates should be paid through the state budgets, and this is envisaged by law, and this is problematic because it contradicts common sense and the logic of the interests of different subjects we've mentioned. In this case, we see that the TV channels, they have programs like debates, but in order to have legal support, they need to say that this is not debate, this is just a TV program. And we saw also countdown on Suspilne and other political shows. So from one side, the state rigidly regulates debates, and at the same time, it provides opportunity for other forms that provide opportunity to invite candidates and to provide such discussions in other forms. So the law on debates should be changed, and we should simplify the rules for the TV channels to organize such events. Also, no limit on electoral campaigning. The law does not provide any limits, and this is not typical for European countries. It is done in America, but not in Europe. And for parliamentary elections, we have limits for campaigning. And during campaigning for the presidency, we do not have such limits. And Ukrainian elections, they are extremely expensive. The sums spent by candidates, and in this case, we are saying that Vladimir Zelensky spent for campaigning 143 million, and Poroshenko spent 584 million, so several times more. If we compare with France, these sums, if you compare it with Poland, it exceeds all limits for Poland candidates. In Poland, they can spend only 126 million hryvnias, and Zelensky had more, and Poroshenko had several times more. But the economy of Poland is 5 times bigger than Ukrainian economy. This is not only about the cost, this is also the issue of close policy, because it is only accessible for the richest millionaires or those who will take money from millionaires, and then they need to work for this money. And all this political model, because of expensive elections, this model is distorted. And in Czech Republic, the professor from university can be efficient during presidential elections, but in Ukraine, he won't be efficient here. So the law should be changed, and this is important during parliamentary elections, and also this is important during presidential elections to establish this limit. So absence of limit on electoral campaigning is a problem, and this problem should be resolved, and efficient limits should be established, taking into account the experience of Poland. And the number of people in Poland and in Ukraine is similar. Economy in Poland is bigger, and 126 million. This figure may be the point for discussion in Ukraine. The next problem, so unlimited number of political campaigning in audiovisual media. Practically, there are several approaches how to regulate the issue of big money in policy, in politics. And the majority of Western countries, they have partial or full ban for buying time on TV channels for candidates. This is to reduce the budgets during elections, and at the same time, it is done to remove manipulative influence. If politicians have opportunities to buy advertisement on TV, this is the easiest way how to reach voters, and they then won't come to voters, or they won't use other media because television covers the whole Ukraine, and this is also a conversion of money into votes. And not all those who spend money get good results, and we know when, for example, Yulia Tymoshenko had big budget or party projects, they have big money, but they do not reach results. Not all those who have big money have big results, but without big money, no one have success. And campaigning for Zelensky is less than the campaign for Poroshenko, but in Poland, they have less money that they spend for the presidents, and in our country, we have spent more on presidential elections. Also, there are limits on the funds and what amounts they can spend for TV advertisements. There are internal limits, and also one more thing is that they regulate the number of blocks that one of the candidates or party during parliamentary elections, the number of blocks that they can buy. For example, you may buy only 10, 20, or 30 blocks of paid advertisement, and each block is regulated by clearly defined number of minutes, for example, 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes. Such blocks are in Germany. And in this way, they won't have too long or too short blocks that prevent appearance of emotional blocks without any sense. Before giving the floor to my colleague Ihor Rozkladay, I would like to say about TV channel bias in the context of the candidates. And the law envisages that mass media should act without bias, and they should cover and highlight information in the news, but organizations that monitor the activity of the channels, including detector media, provided that there was some bias about the favorite or some silencing of information about strong candidates. They were just ignored. ICTV ignored Yuria Boyko. 1+1 provided more time to positively present Vladimir Zelensky. 112 channel provided for live candidates. Ukraine for Boyko, 5th channel and Prямый covered and provided more time to Petro Poroshenko. So from one side, we may say that there is some pluralism, that different channels promote different candidates, and this is not monopoly. But at the same time, when we compare it with developed democracies, this is a distortion. And here we may say about another point, this is the position of the regulator in Ukraine. It does not react to such violations, and this is about responsibility, and there is an issue of capability, how to respond on these violations. We believe in the context of audiovisual information, because with papers we have different situation, the TV channel should have balanced approach to candidates. It doesn't mean mathematical equal, but the candidates should be covered, and this coverage should have a balance, and there should not be big distortions. If they provide only negative information about someone, or, for example, someone is promoted more actively, so in such cases, regulators should intervene, and also we should have detailed legislation on this. I would like to give the floor to my colleague Igor.
With the regulator, the situation is quite complicated. It is resulted because of the law of 2006, when the changes were introduced to the laws on broadcasting and TV, but till 2015, the National Board has no right to impose fines or sanctions. The fines and penalties are more efficient. The recent years demonstrate this, and TV channels do not like the fines and penalties. They are efficient means when they are punished for violation of their politics, policy. Our national board monitors the implementation by the TV channels of our election law, and there is a whole range of penalties. The only document about election is where it is administrative code. And the practice shows that the mechanism is inefficient. If they issue protocols and bring them to court, the court will have no time to try this case, and as it often happens, there will be a judgment of the court that yes, there was an offense, but the period has already elapsed, so our boards should respond, should have mechanism of fast response. So the legislation needs improvement, and also we will have to address the issue of internet. Hidden campaigning or implicit campaigning, we are not talking about genes, but we are talking about the new types of programs, such as entertainment programs. In this election, this was the Servant of People, which was broadcast on April 20th. So there is a big issue as to this content, because formally this is not campaigning, but we know that the appearance of the candidate itself provides him benefits. This situation could be changed thanks to the introduction of the U.S. principle of equal opportunities. If one candidate appears on TV, then the second candidate will have the right also to appear on TV for the same period. The next issue is a platforms for users' videos such as Facebook and YouTube. We saw there many campaigning products of Yulia Tymoshenko, Poroshenko, and Zelensky, but only one account can be registered in one region of Ukraine. And if we look onto the law on political parties, it sets the norms for Ukrainian actors. Facebook has no representation in Ukraine. It is a foreign company. YouTube has its representative office, but everything is paid not directly, not in Ukrainian hryvnias, but through offshore accounts. The library of Zelensky, it was paid from the accounts of its team members, and always there is some middleman who pays. Our stand is that this should be legalized with some restrictions, with setting special purposes for these fines, because online platforms in future will become even more powerful in their influence on population. The other interesting thing is the opportunity of paying for advertisement by supporters. They are formally registered, for example, in the Czech Republic with the Central Election Commission. And I may say that Facebook uses the list of agents who are supporters, so that the advertisement is marked as political advertisement. So this is the mechanism of cooperation with international platforms. So Ukraine can set some legislative requirements to this mechanism, because now there is a chaos in social media. As concerns the expert environment, we have sometimes see requirements to printed media that they should be unbiased, just like electronic media, but the position is wrong because the Council of Europe in its recommendation said that the influence of audio media differs from that of printed media. Because these two types of mass media are different. So in printed media, only restrictions on language which can incite hatred, this is applicable. But as concerns online media, electronic media, which are printed but they are provided in electronic version, they should be subject to the same one restriction if they do not share audio or video products. So when this media share only textual products, they should be subject to the same restrictions as printed media. So other sources should not distort information. In our legislation, we have another provision since 2004. This is the ban on commenting after 20 minutes. This means when you campaign on TV and you broadcast your advertisement, political advertisement on TV channel, then within 20 minutes you cannot comment on this political advertisement. And then the speakers could not explain what was this advertisement about. There were some periods in our country when the speakers of TV programs used to distort information, but now the national regulator should operate in fast manner and efficient manner. So this provision should be changed. The news should be free of advertisement, but comments should be allowed within the news programs. One comment from our colleagues is that the electoral process was not enough covered in the public broadcast programs. So this is our list, and I'm giving the floor back to my colleague. Thank you, Igor. So, to sum up, I would like to say the election are critical moment in the country. So what rules are, how mass media works, it influences much on the results of the elections. So we should reach conclusions and learn lessons from every election campaign so that our next election are more efficient. So we will have our next election this year. Either they will be regular or they will be extraordinary. They will take place before October, and still we have the window of opportunity to change our laws so that these amendments help next election campaign to be improved. Are there any questions to our speakers? There are no questions. Thank you to our speakers at the end of the briefing.